Math terminology. Mathematics is a language, and when you're in math class, you want to make sure that you can speak the language. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some basic math vocabulary. We'll start with addition. So when you're adding two numbers together, the answer is called the sum, and the numbers that you're adding together are called addends. Now in this example, we have two addends, 5 and 3, and one sum. I'm going to do one more up here. I'll do 6 plus 2 plus 1 equals 9. In this example that I just wrote, we have 3 addends and one sum. Subtraction is a little trickier. When you subtract, the answer that you get is called the difference. And the first term is called the minuend, and the subtrahend is the number that you're subtracting. When you're multiplying and you get an answer, the answer is called the product, and the numbers that you're multiplying are called factors. In this example, we have two factors, 5 and 6, and our product is 30. Let me do another one up top. So 4 times 3 times 1 equals 12. The product is 12. In this example, we have 3 factors. With division, when you get an answer, the answer is known as the quotient. And the first number is known as the dividend, and the second term is known as the divisor. Now, kids will often get these two mixed up. Just remember the dividend is at the end. The quotient is your answer, and the dividend is at this end. The dividend's at the end. The divisor is the number that you're dividing by. So the dividend's at the end. Consecutive numbers are numbers in a row. For example, 8 and 9 are consecutive numbers, 5, 6, and 7 are consecutive numbers, 12, 14, 20, 27 are not consecutive numbers. They're not in a row. Now here are 4 different ways of showing the same thing when it comes to multiplication. In elementary school, this is the symbol that's used most often, which means 5 times 6. This also means 5 times 6, as well as this symbol here is 5 times 6. And when you have a number next to a number in parentheses, even though there's no symbol there, this means to multiply. This means 5 times 6. So the product for all 4 of those examples would actually be 30. For division in elementary school, this is the symbol that's used most often, the division symbol. But this fraction bar also means to divide. This would also mean 6 divided by 2. And this also means 6 divided by 2. This would be 8 divided by 2, 10 divided by 5, 22 divided by 11. So the fraction bar is also a division symbol. Let's take a look at some examples using math terminology. The sum of two numbers is 143. One of the addends is 60. What is the other addend? Well, as soon as I see sum, I know we're talking about addition. The sum of two numbers, so I have two numbers. The sum of two numbers is would be equal sign, is 143. One of the addends is 60. What is the other addend? Well, what I'm going to do to find that other addend, I'm actually going to work backwards. I'm going to start with 143, and instead of adding, I'm going to take 143 and subtract. I'm going to do the opposite or the inverse operation, and I get 83. So the missing addend, what is the other addend? The other addend is 83. Let's just double check and make sure that's correct. So I've got 83 and 60. It checks. So the two addends would be 83 and 60 for a sum of 143. Let's try another one. The divisor is 2. The quotient is 8. What is the dividend? Well, the minute I see quotient, I know we're talking about division. So I'm going to set this up. And let's plug in our information. The divisor is 2. The divisor is 2. The quotient, or the answer, is 8. What is the dividend? Remember, the dividends at the end. The dividends at the end. So, just like on the last question, I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to start with the 8, and instead of dividing by 2, I'm going to multiply by 2. I'm going to do the opposite or the inverse operation. So what is the dividend? The dividend is 16. Let's double check that. Is 16 divided by 2 8? Yes, so it checks. Here's another example. 2 consecutive addends make a sum of 85. What is the larger addend? So, addends, I know we're talking about adding. 2 consecutive addends give you a sum of 85. What is the larger addend? Well, here's a little trick. Since there are 2 consecutive addends, if I take 85 and I divide that by 2, it doesn't go in perfectly. But this gives us a good starting point. 42. Let's see if 42 is one of the numbers. Let's take the number after 42, 43. 42 and 43 are consecutive numbers. Do 42 and 43 make 85? They do. Now the question says, what is the larger addend? The larger addend is 43, and that would be our answer. So when it says 2 consecutive addends, you can divide by 2, and this will give you a good starting point as to what one of the numbers might be. Let's do another example of that. This says 3 consecutive addends make a sum of 75. What is each addend? So we have 3 addends in this question. They give us a sum of 75. What is each addend? Well, 3 consecutive addends. In the last example, we divided by 2 because it was 2 consecutive addends. In this example, there are 3 consecutive addends, and that actually goes into 75 exactly 25 times. This will work every time with 3 numbers. 25 is going to be your middle number. So to have 3 consecutive numbers, one less than that would be 24, one more would be 26. Let's just double check and see if that actually works. So we've got 24, 25, 26, 3 consecutive numbers. I'm going to add. It works. So 3 consecutive numbers that give you a sum of 75. The numbers are 24, 25, and 26. So remember, if it's 3 consecutive numbers, divide by 3. That'll give you the middle number, or a good number to start with, 25. If it asks for 2 consecutive numbers, you would divide by 2. And of course, if it was 4 consecutive numbers, you would divide by 4. So that's some basic math terminology.